What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our college football channel. Are you ready for what might be the greatest Saturday in the history of college football in the regular season? I mean, we have a loaded schedule. More top 25 versus top 25 matchups than we have had since, I think, 2015. And there are just a ton of great games. Even games that don't even involve ranked teams, there are a lot of really good games. I mean, this is... there are so many games. I cannot wait to watch games on Saturday. But let's get to the upset potential games. If you go back to last week, the two most likely upsets that I had on the video were Missouri upsetting Kansas State and Florida upsetting Tennessee. Both of those happen, even though I didn't pick those upsets to happen. I thought they were the most likely. And then I didn't have BYU upsetting Arkansas. That wasn't even on the video, so totally missed that one. But again, if you're new to this, we pick 8 games that are the most likely to be upsets, games where teams should be on upset alert, and we're looking for the biggest upsets that we can find. The spread has to be more than 3 points, and again, we're trying to find those upsets, those double-digit underdogs that might potentially pull off an upset. And so we go through the 8 games that go from the least likely to most likely upset to happen. And we'll start with, I think you have to throw this one on here, Colorado, Oregon. I don't think Colorado's going to win. I really don't know what to expect, though. They've proven me wrong. Well, against TCU. Now, I did expect them to beat Nebraska and Colorado State. But they proved me wrong against TCU. And they have been just a better team than I thought they would be. Oregon, you've already seen them go on the road and beat Texas Tech. Not a great performance there, but a gutsy win for them. And the offense has been playing great. Colorado's offense has been playing really well. I expect a lot of points in this game. Can Colorado keep up? I think it'll probably come down to mistakes and turnovers. That could be the difference in this game. But just because, again, I don't want to underestimate Colorado. I've got to put them on the video. They might potentially pull off the upset here over Oregon. Next, we got Texas and Baylor, 7:30 Eastern Time on ABC. Texas favored by 15.5 points. Pretty big number there. A Baylor team that's already lost 2 games. They lost to Texas State and they lost to Utah. They played a lot better against Utah. They played much, much better in that game. And this is one that you know they've had circled. They really want to win this game, and this is going to be the case for Texas and Oklahoma in every conference game they play. Everyone's going to really, really be trying to beat them and putting everything they got into these games. Texas coming off of the big win over Alabama a couple of weeks ago. You've got Oklahoma looming just down the road. Will they show up for this game? This is the type of game that Texas in the past would lose. It just is. Have they passed that? Have they overcome that? Are they going to come out ready to go and win this game easily like they should? Or will Baylor hang around? And if they do, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Baylor pulled off the upset in this one. All right, next we got BYU, Kansas, 3:30 Eastern Time on ESPN. This is another game. You know, we're talking about all these great games this week, all these top 25 versus top 25 matchups. This is a sneaky good game right here. 2 undefeated teams, 3-0, opening up conference play in the Big 12. This is a huge game, and BYU's coming off of a big win over Arkansas. Kansas coming off of a win a couple of weeks ago against Illinois. This is a really, really big game. Kansas is favored by 8.5 points. I believe Kansas is the better team. They're playing at home. No reason to pick against them other than the fact that look at what BYU just did. They just went on the road and beat Arkansas. That tells me they could potentially do it again and pull off another upset. And so I think Kansas definitely has to be on upset alert in this one. Next, we've got North Carolina versus Pitt. This game's at 8 o'clock Eastern Time on ACC Network. North Carolina's favored by 7.5 points on the road. Pittsburgh's looked awful this year, but it's kind of similar to the Texas deal where North Carolina in the past has lost these types of games. They just have. They played great in big games, and then they'll let up and lose to a team they should beat. And I think Vegas sees that. That's why the spread's only 7.5 points. But Pitt has got to play a lot better. I mean, they just have not played well so far. But if they put it all together and they play like they're capable of playing, and North Carolina doesn't play their best, Drake May has been turning the football over this year. The game's on the road. You never know. We might see a shocker here. And I guess it wouldn't really even be a shocker with the spread, only 7.5 points. I was surprised. I was really surprised that number was as low as it was. Wisconsin, Purdue, Friday night game, 7 o'clock Eastern Time on FS1. Wisconsin favored by 6. the Badgers they still don't seem to be clicking on all cylinders. Purdue is a team that has played a tough schedule already. That's a pretty tough start to the season for them. They're 1-2, yes, but they're battle tested. They're playing at home. These weeknight games, Thursday, Friday night games, the home team pulls off an upset all the time. It happens all the time. Just go back to the history of college football. We see it very, very often. So I think Purdue is definitely capable of pulling off the upset here. Wisconsin still does not play their best. Next, we've got Ole Miss, Alabama, 3:30 Eastern time. It almost feels like the spread is the other way around because it seems like everyone's taking Ole Miss to win this game. Alabama is still the favorites. They're favored by 7 points in this game. Going back with Jalen Milroe at quarterback. Game is on CBS. But I think if the offensive struggles continue for the Crimson Tide, Ole Miss absolutely can pull off the upset. They can win this game. It wouldn't surprise, I don't think, anyone at this point, given how Alabama's played the last couple of weeks. So definitely put the Crimson Tide on upset alert, even though, again, it almost feels like they're the underdogs in this game. We got Texas Tech versus West Virginia, 3:30 Eastern time on ESPN Plus. So if you don't have ESPN Plus, you're not going to be able to watch this one. So I won't be able to watch it. But Texas Tech is favored by 6 on the road. West Virginia coming off of a big win over Pitt. They've already played Penn State, so they're pretty battle-tested. Texas Tech, of course, lost to Wyoming and lost to Oregon, but they played much better against Oregon. So this is a toss-up game for me. I'm surprised the number is as high as it is at 6. I think West Virginia absolutely is capable of pulling off the win here. And then we've got UCLA versus Utah, 3:30 Eastern time. Utah favored by 4.5 points. Will Cam Rising play? That's the story here. If he doesn't, I tell you what, UCLA is absolutely capable of pulling off this upset. Utah's passing offense has been awful so far this season without Cam Rising. Yes, they're playing at home. Yes, the defense is going to be good. We know that. They'll be able to run the football. But UCLA has looked pretty good so far this season. And again, this is another ranked matchup. There are actually 3 ranked versus ranked matchups in the Pac-12 this week for the first time ever. And it's only the 10th time that a conference has had 3 ranked versus ranked matchups in the same week. So this is a huge week. And what's crazy about this for the Pac-12 is when you saw the schedule and saw how backloaded it was, you thought, wow, late in the season, look at these big weekends for the Pac-12, all these big games. And we're sitting here at week 4, and we've already got a huge weekend in the Pac-12. Who had Washington State ranked at this point? Who had Colorado ranked at this point? Who had UCLA ranked at this point? Some probably did have UCLA, and some maybe had Washington State and Colorado, but most people did not. And so we have 3 ranked versus ranked matchups when we maybe thought there would be 0 in the Pac-12. Just how crazy it is this year. And you get this first. You get, such a huge weekend in college football. The Pac-12 right there in the thick of things. This conference is doing great, and it's all just going to end. No more Pac-12 after this year. Anyways, that's a little bit of a different subject there. But these are the games that I think are most likely to be upsets this week. There are a ton more games I could put on the video. There are so many big games. There are a lot of games where the spread is less than 4 that we really didn't talk about here. But it's going to be maybe the best weekend of college football, the best Saturday of college football of all time in the regular season. Maybe. It's a huge weekend. And I'm expecting a lot of close games, a lot of great games, and some surprises in there as well. What are your picks for this week? Who do you think should be on upset alert? Let me know down in the comments below.